Okay, thank you all so much for joining. We'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prethaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitanamne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishishya Shunyavadi Paschatya Devtarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So anyone remembers the last verse Mataji taught you all last week? What was it? It's the 16th chapter, of course.
16.4.
Excellent. Who was that?
Isha was there. And
Mataji.
Preethi was there.
So can you recite 16.4 for me?
I didn't. I
Okay.
can look and do it.
Yeah, look into it. No problem. It begins with Dambo Darpo Abhimanascha.
Therefore, Mataji, I can't see the screen for.
Oh, you want it on the screen? I didn't even put it in. Okay. Okay, what we could do is we could open up database. That's okay. Can you see the screen? No, right?
It's still on the Bhagavad Gita.
PPT only we are seeing.
Now I can see it, Mataji. Darbo Vinadas cha Kroda Pushyam eva cha Agyanam Chabastya
Partha.
Tata Sampadam Asurim.
Excellent. Okay. Dambo Dharpo Abhimanascha Kroda Parushyameva Ajnanam Chabijatasya Partha Sampadam Asurim. So the previous verse, we saw that pride, ignorance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pritha. So continuing on the same line, we are going to move on to verse.
Mataji, can Vrunda recite the same verse?
Oh yeah, sure. One second. Yeah. Go ahead.
Mute. Okay, I'm so sorry. Sorry, Mataji, I was on mute. And
Dambodarpo Vimanascha Krodabadushameva ja Ajnanam Chavibhadasya
No, Ajnanam
Abhijatasya Padasampadamasurim.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Thank you so much. Okay. So we saw the meaning of that verse. So we are going to continue in the same lines and we are going to move forward to chapter 16, verse number 21. Okay. So we just saw about demoniac qualities, right? Like pride, conceit, anger, all of these different negative qualities. So what happens, further is discussed in this chapter. So 16.21 is about the 3 gates leading to hell. Okay, the 3 gates leading to hell. What are the qualities if we develop to a great extent, we would go to hell. So that is what we are going to discuss in this verse. So I want everyone to repeat after me. Trividam narakasyedam.
Trividam narakasedam.
Trividam narakasyedam.
Trividam narakasedam.
Trividam narakasyedam.
Trividam narakasedam.
Dwaram nashanamatmanaha.
Dwaram nashanamatmanaha.
Dwaram nashanamatmanaha.
Dwaram nashanamatmanaha.
Dwaram nashanamatmanaha.
Dwaram nashanamatmanaha.
त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः
Trividam arnastedam atmana.
त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः कामक्रोधस्तथा 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 तस्मादेतं त्रयं त्यजेत् तस्मादेतत्त्रयं त्यजेत् तस्मादेतत्त्रयं त्यजेत् तस्मादेतं त्रयं त्यजेत् त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः कामक्रोधस्तथा लोभस्तस्मादेतत्त्रयं त्यजेत् कामक्रोधस्तथा लोभस्तस्मादेतत्त्रयं त्यजेत् The whole verse together. Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashanamatmanah kamakrodhastatha lobhas tasmadetattrayam tyajit. Awesome. Okay. Let me ask you questions. What is Naraka? What is Naraka? Hell. Okay. What is Kama?
Just lust.
Lust. Very good. Oh, yes, desire. What is Krodha?
Anger.
What is Lobha?
Greed.
Greed. Lobha. Greed.
Greed.
Trayam?
Mataji, Traya means three.
Correct. Very good. What is Dwar? Dwar. What is
Dwara means gate.
Yeah,
Gate.
the gate of the door is Dwara. Very nice. Vidam is variety, right? So three types. So three types. Vidam, three types. Okay. Naraka, you all know hell. Idam means this. Dwaram is the gate. Nashanam. Destruction, yes, complete destruction. Yeah. Atma is the self, right? Atma. Kama, you said, is lust. Krodha is anger. Tata as well. Lobha, greed. Tasmad, therefore, etat, these, trayam, again, three. Tyajit. What is tyag? What is tyag? Have you heard the word tyag?
No.
Never? Tyagi, tyaga.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
No, Mataji.
Yes. Mataji.
Okay, what is it? What is the meaning?
You like sacrifice something.
Sacrifice, exactly.
Sacrifice something.
Exactly, that is true. So tyaga, tyaja, tyaj. Okay, that is the root word. So tyajet means to give up, to sacrifice, to say, I don't want it. Okay, to give it away. Okay, so let's see the translation. There are three gates leading to this hell. Okay, we saw all the demoniac qualities, right? If you develop these three qualities, you're going to go to hell. That's what Bhagavad Gita is telling. There are three gates leading to hell. What are the three gates? Lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man. What is the meaning of sane man? What is the meaning of sanity, sane?
Like a man who has common sense to
Oh, I
know
only
what's
sent
good and
her.
bad.
Exactly. A man who has common sense. Yes. Every
A
sane
man
man.
has common sense.
Yeah, every man who has common sense should give up these three. Why should you give it up? Why should you give up lust, anger, and greed? Because they lead to the degradation of the soul, destruction of the soul. Soul is Atma, the self, right? So the translation is there are three gates leading to the self: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give up these because they lead to the degradation of the soul. So this is the verse they're going to analyze in great detail. Okay. So here is a picture and you see there are three entries through this big escalator that is going up. And these three entries are leading to three gates. And these three gates are the entry to hell. And what are these three gates? Can anyone tell me? What are the three things Krishna told?
Lust, greed, and anger.
And greed, right? Lust, anger, greed. Excellent. So we know the three gates. Okay. So these three gates are the qualities that we are going to, if we develop, then we are going to go to hell. Okay. In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, now let's see the verse shooters.
Mataji, your picture is very nice. Vrinda
It's
is
like
thinking that
escalators.
hellish gate will have this excellent.
Escalator, yes.
Mataji, that's so big. I never saw escalators like this big.
I know. So, in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the formula for fall down is given. Okay. How one actually falls down, or how one develops bad qualities and falls down. So, these are the two verses. Anyone wants to read these two verses from Bhagavad Gita, second chapter? Dhyayato.
Yes, Mataji, can Bharvanasi?
Go.
Dataya Vishaya.
Dhyayato.
Dayado Vishaya Dvamsam Sankasteshu Pajayade Sangat Sanjayade Kamat Kama Krododvijayade Krodad Bhavati Sammohat Sammohat Vidhivigra Sevam Satmridhirasa Buddhinasha Patati.
Wonderful. So these two verses, they talk about the formula for fall down. So it says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa, meaning we all have senses, right? So as we think about the sense objects, what happens? We desire to associate with those sense objects. Like for example, if you're thinking about gulab jamun, okay? So you think about gulab jamun, you think, you're thinking, and you're thinking how nice, how tasty gulab jamun is. But as you're thinking about gulab jamun, what's happening in your heart? There is a lot of lust or desire that is developing. I want to eat that gulab jamun. Okay. So you think about the gulab jamun, you think how tasty it is, the happiness you're going to get by eating it, and then you start developing a strong desire to acquire gulab jamun. So you go to the kitchen and you tell your mom, you have to make gulab jamun for me. Today I must eat gulab jamun. Okay, so you are completely in desire to have that gulab jamun. So, dhyayato vishyan pumsa, as you're thinking about the enjoyable object that is sensed, but that is enjoyed by your senses, the tongue, you start developing a desire. Sangasteshu pajayate, sangat sanjayate kama. Kama is developing desire, lust, okay? Then what happens? You think your mom is going to say, okay, I'll make gulab jamun right away? She'll be like, no. And what will happen if she says no? What are you going to do? Are you going to be very happy? Or are you going to say, very good, mommy, you told no? No, you're going to get angry, right? So if your desire is not satisfied, kamak krodho bijayate. So from contemplation of gulab jamun, kama came. From kama, what came? Because your calm was not satisfied, krodha, anger came. Okay. After krodha came, what happened? After you got angry, were you in a very good condition? Were you very stable? No. Sammoha, you became bewildered. You became so angry, you started screaming at your mom. You became bewildered. Smriti Vibhrama, okay, you lost your memory. And then Buddhinasha, your intelligence went off. And then you went to the room, you shut the door and you said, Ma, I'll never talk to you again. So is that behaving good? No, you started behaving very, very bad. So Smriti Bhramshat, Buddhinasha, Buddhinashat Pranashrati. Because of that, you fought with your mom, you became a bad girl, you became a bad boy, and there was a fall down. So this is the royal road for fall down. Okay. So what happened? First, you thought about something, you developed desire for it. When your desire was not satisfied, you got angry, and then your memory was bewildered, you lost your intelligence, you went crazy, and then there was a fall down, right? So, what are the three important things that cause this fall down? Actually, it is these three gates: Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Kama is excessive desire. Krodha, excessive anger. Lobha, excessive greed. I need to get it. Whatever it may be, I have to get it. That is greed. I want to accumulate more and more. Not enough if I get one gulab jamun. I want all the 20 gulab jamuns only for me. I will never share it. So that is greed. So these are the three chief causes for this entire problem. Okay. So we all have senses, right? We have tongue, we have eyes, we have nose. Everything is there. These senses, they need real engagement, meaning something temporary is not going to keep us happy for long. Okay. Real engagement means something that can give you permanent happiness. If your senses are engaged in a very, very nice way, not just in a temporary way, not just, for a few minutes, if they can be constantly engaged in a very positive way, then the senses will actually be controlled. So, how do we control the senses? How do we control desire? By just replacing it with things related to Krishna. So that is the formula. The analogy given here is water and milk. Okay, supposing you have a glass of water, but instead of water, you want milk. What will you do? You'll pour out the water and then you'll start filling the milk. So like that, for us to get rid of that water-like desires, we have to fill the mug with milk by dovetailing all our senses in Krishna consciousness, by engaging with things that is related to Krishna. So how do we control the tongue? How do we control the desire to enjoy things with our tongue? By eating prasadam. How do we control the desire to enjoy things by smelling? By smelling the flowers that is offered to Krishna. So like this, every sense can be easily associated in the service of Krishna. Then what happens? These senses, they become purified. Okay, they become purified and they are more stable. Okay, so here is, who's this? Who's this in the picture?
Ravana.
Ravana. Okay, do you think he was lusty? He had a lot of karma? Yes, no, not sure. Any answers? Did he have a lot of desire, Ravana?
Yes.
What was the desire that he had?
He wanted to take over the world.
Yes, he wanted to take over the world, and especially he desired for Sita. Okay, so he had a lot of lust in the heart. You know what Mandodari? Anyone knows who Mandodari is?
Ravana's chief.
Yeah, Ravana's wife, Ravana's queen's name was Mandodari. Mandodari, she was very intelligent. Okay, Ravana, he was also intelligent, but he had a lot of lust. Okay, because of the lust, there were a lot of issues. Once you have too much karma, what happens? Krodha comes, and then you become foolish. You lose your intelligence, you lose your memory, you become foolish, right? That's the formula. So that is what was happening with Ravana. So he lost his senses. But Mandodari, who was a very nice wife, when Ravana died, she came and she cried because her husband died. And she said something very important. She told, "Oh, my dear husband, Ravana, you're very strong. Okay. You're the strongest of all the people in the world. Do you think you died just because Ram shot some arrow on you? Do you think that is the reason why Ravana died? No. What could be the reason?
Because he had
Because he was God.
no, he had a lot of pride, and he was very proud, and he thought that, oh, since I got a broom from Brahma, and that no god can defeat me. And he didn't think that any human or animal could defeat him, because he had even defeated Yamaraj. So he said, okay, no one can defeat. I have defeated death personified itself, so there's no way anyone is defeating me. So that's why.
Wonderful. Very nice. Very nice.
Very sweetly told. Haribol.
Ah. And the root cause of all this feeling was because he had intense lust. Okay. Lust is the royal road to hell. It is the gateway to hell, right? So that is what Ravana had. He was so lusty. This entire foolishness came because of lust. So Mandodari, she tells Ravana, actually, Ram didn't kill you. You got killed by your excessive lust. That lust is the cause, cause for the addiction that you have to do wrong things, and all the attachment that you had actually killed you. It all began with lust. So, which is very true. If he was not so lusty, then he wouldn't have had such a great fall down. Okay. He wouldn't have lost his senses and gone and fought with Ram and asked for such boons to become powerful and be such a crazy person. Okay. So lust is one of the most important gateways to hell. The second one is krodha. Okay. So tell me, how many of you have got angry recently? Got angry about something recently?
Mataji.
Tell me, baby.
How many of you got angry?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. How many of you got angry? That's what she's saying. You got angry? Did you ever got angry on anyone?
Yes, I did. I got angry on my parents.
Okay. How did you feel when you got angry? Tell me, Balavrinda, look here. How did you feel when you got angry? How was your body? Was your body like shivering? And how did you feel? Just tell me, explain to me. How did you feel?
No, I actually got angry. So one day I got angry on my parents. So my mom was mad at me, so I was angry on her. So,
Okay, I know you were angry. Tell me what happened to yourself when you were angry. How did you behave? What did you do?
I did bad stuff.
You did bad stuff.
Explain the bad
stuff. I
What-
did
Bad means what bad you did? How did you do?
before she shouted on me because I was doing bad stuff.
Okay,
And
what did you do then?
okay, I shouted at her, or I was coming in the kitchen. She said not to come in the kitchen, so I came in the kitchen. I was not listening to her. That's why she shouted at me, and I got angry at her.
Okay, so when you get angry, basically what do? You scream at the person in front of you. You try to disobey whatever that person is telling. You try to do the opposite, and your whole body becomes, it's not just that your mind and your words are angry, but your entire body is shaking, and you're so angry, and you drop things in your way. You go bang the door. You do all of this, right? So these are all different symptoms of anger. Science, what it talks about anger. And Srila Prabhupada, in the purport, he says, anger pollutes the body. This is something that is derived from Bhagavad Gita. So when you get angry, it is not that it's just an emotion. It's an emotion that passes through your entire body. Your entire physical body gets shaken up with anger. And science says, the different emotions that one has when they are angry is fear, excitement, anxiety. The adrenal glands flood the body with stress hormones, and the brain shunts the blood away, And there is so much happening, so much happening. You're sweating, and there is so much internal changes that is happening in your body when you're getting angry. Your heart rate increases, your blood pressure increases, the respiration, like that you're panting, and your body temperature increases, and you're sweating. So there is so much that happens when you get angry. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita it's mentioned, when you get angry, it's not just an emotion, your entire body gets polluted. So why are you even getting angry? Tell me, Balavrinda, why did you get angry that day?
I got the anger because my mom was screaming at me.
Yes, hold there. So your mom was screaming at you, right? So you felt, oh, I am Balavrinda. I'm such a perfect child. How can my mom scream at me? Right? Was that the feeling that you had? How could she shout at me? I'm doing everything right, right? So the problem of anger comes from bodily identification. Actually, we think, oh, my mom told me that I am bad. My mom told me that I don't do this well. So all of this begins with bodily identification. Okay. Someone laughed at me because I'm fat. So all of this, all of our problems begins with the feeling of I and mine. So that is actually the real cause of our problem. Actually, anger is only a reaction to something that is deeper. What is that which is deeper? Considering oneself, one's body to be greater than one's own internal self. That is actually the problem. Okay, we are identifying with our body, and if someone tells us something, we think they are scolding us. That's why we get angry. But however, this is a common problem with everyone. Look at this picture here. There is calm water. There is a very placid lake, very calm water. But if you start throwing stones into that water, what happens? There are ripples, right? So if someone attacks us, okay, someone attacks us, we think that, this is me. How can they attack me? So those attacks are like throwing little stones into a calm water. So when you throw stones into a calm water, there is ripples. So like that, our body is shaking and they're getting angry, and our whole ecosystem, our entire body, mind, everything is contaminated. However, it can be purified if we utilize this anger in the service of the Lord. So here we see two pictures. One is Ambarish Maharaj, Durvasa Muni, and the other one is Hanuman. Now, Durvasa Muni, he was very angry, right? He got very, very angry because Ambarish drank water before he could eat. So the Durvasa got very, very angry. In anger, what did he do? Was he very sane? Was he very calm? No, he got very angry. He lost his senses. So he sent a fiery demon, and then he had to face the consequence. He was running everywhere seeking shelter, right? Because of his anger, he got into so much trouble. Whereas you look at the other picture, Hanuman. Hanuman also got angry. He burned the entire Lanka. But his anger was controlled because it was done in the service of the Lord. So even when we get angry, we should think for a moment and try to analyze, why am I getting angry? Where is the need for me to get angry? Am I getting angry because someone told something about um, me in terms of my body? Because nobody can really hurt the soul, right? Someone can only hurt the body. How can you hurt the soul? You cannot. So we should think and then react. In the case of Hanuman, Hanuman was not angry that Ravana burnt his tail. Okay. Hanuman was thinking, how can I use even this in the service of the Lord? His anger was, why is Ravana behaving like this, kidnapping Sita? That was his anger. So with that anger, he actually burned the entire Lanka. He utilized his anger properly. So the point here is that there's nothing, I mean, people get angry. We are all human beings. So it is not abnormal to not get angry or something. Everyone will get angry, but we should know to channelize that anger properly. It's all about channelizing. Okay, greed, the third gateway to hell. Hmm. So, greed, the tendency to accumulate a lot is greed. Have you seen honeybees? What do honeybees do? Can anyone tell me?
Collect honey.
Yes, they collect honey. They collect a lot of honey. They do a lot of hard work, over a period of time. They go and they collect honey, they collect nectar from different flowers, and with all the hard earned wealth they actually accumulate that honey in the honeycomb. But then what happens? One day there is a honey collector who comes. He shoots a spray. All the bees become unconscious. He comes, he steals all the honey, and he goes away. Right? What happened to all the hard-earned wealth of the honey? Did the honeybee? Did the honeybee enjoy it? No, he only collected it, but he could not enjoy it at all. Right? So sad. Someone else is enjoying it. So like that. That is what we are also doing to a great extent. We like to accumulate. Okay, we like to accumulate, thinking that this is not enough. This is not enough.
Mataji,
Ah,
do they actually really take all the honey in the honeycomb?
yeah. They come and they collect the honey from there. The bees make honey. We can't make honey, right? So we just go and we make the bees unconscious. We collect all the honey and we come out. The bees
We
don't
take
enjoy
all of them.
as much as possible, as and when needed. But they are accumulating. They're taking so much effort to hold on to it, but they don't get to enjoy it. Yeah, it's sad. But that's what we learn from the honeybee. There's no point accumulating a lot, because how much can you enjoy, right? Greed, and the greatest greed is, for what? For power. Greed for power. The greatest form of intoxication is the intoxication of power. If the world here, in today's world, all the countries, they're all fighting for power. All the people, they're all fighting for power. Who is going to be the leader? Who will be in control? That is everybody's problem. So that is the biggest greed. Okay. Here we go. But greed, too much greed, can actually result in fall down. Instead of being like the honeybee who's just accumulating and accumulating over a period of time, one should learn from the crows. Have you seen how crows eat food? Anyone has seen this? So if a crow, in India especially, crows are very common. In the west coast of US, crows are common.
Mataji,
So
can Arvinda say something?
yes, go ahead.
So when I went to vacation in Niagara Falls, there was little birds, and we were eating there. We were having a little picnic. So there was all was kind of little birds, but they're very small. So I was feeding them, and also my mom and my dad. And there was also very big white birds. So we gave the white birds some cookies.
Wonderful. See, these birds, right? If one crow, next time observe a crow if you get to see a crow. If one crow sees a little food, he just shouts ka ka ka, and then he comes and he starts eating that food. Okay. The next minute, what that crow would do is he would shout 10 times more. Like he'll keep shouting ka 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 ka. Why is he shouting so many times? It's because he's calling all the other crows. Come here, I found food. So he calls everybody else, and because of that one crow, 10 other crows, they all come and all of them start eating the food. So that is the tendency of a bird. Okay. But we humans, we like to accumulate. If there is a pandemic, everyone wants to go and grab all the rice bags. Everyone wants to go and grab even toilet papers, right? So that is accumulation of human beings. That's how we are tuned. Whereas birds and animals, they are more natural. Okay.
Mataji,
Everyone come, let's share. So greed is actually the biggest cause of fall down, and greed for power is
Mataji.
the worst of all things. Yeah, go ahead, Isha.
So once we were somewhere in Washington D.C. at a zoo, there was these birds. We dropped food. A bird came. He was saying caw caw caw, and then from that, so many birds came.
Yeah, that's how birds are. That's how animals are. But we human beings, we are very, very greedy. And one such very, very instructive lesson in the Srimad Bhagavatam was the story of Satrajit. Satrajit was the father of Satyabhama. We just saw that in the Jeopardy, the name of Satrajit. He was very greedy for that jewel, Shamantaka Mani, because it was producing hordes of wealth. So though Krishna asked, though Krishna said, this jewel should belong to the emperor or the king. so that he can accumulate enough wealth for the welfare of everyone. In spite of it, Satyajit was very greedy to hold on to that wealth, to hold on to that money that gold that was coming from that. That was the very cause of his death. So greed can actually, completely destroy you. That's why it specifically said that these three gates will lead to the destruction of the self or destruction of the soul. Now I'll ask you one question. How many of you know from Bhagavad Gita that the soul cannot be destroyed? Can the soul be destroyed?
Mataji के 12वें श्लोका.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nainam chindandi shastrani nairindavadi bhavaka tajairam gredayandavo nasojadi maruta.
What does that mean, Valvranda?
It means that soul, it's first,
Soul cannot.
soul cannot die. Yeah, soul cannot be harmed by anything. Or see, if somebody tries to beat the soul, nothing will happen. Somebody
Nothing will happen. Yes.
or water, it won't happen anything.
Yeah. What did Isha want to tell? Very good, Balavranda. Isha, what did you want to say?
A soul never dies. And can I say a shloka with it, Mataji?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dehinosmin yatha dehe kumaram yovanam jara tata deyante praptir diyas tatrana mukyati.
Correct. Very true. So the soul is just going from one body to the other. And as Balavranda said, the soul cannot be killed. Nothing can happen to the soul, right? But then here we say that the soul actually, it results in the degradation or the destruction of the soul. What does that mean? Any ideas? Why would we say this? What is the degradation of the soul?
Even though in Bhagavad Gita it says that soul cannot be destroyed, maybe like in hell, there's 26 types of hell. Like in some hell, they'll make a budgie out of the soul, and and in so
So
like,
funny.
so in each hell, like even it'll really hurt, and to make like and then another hell they'll like whip you so much. So even though a soul cannot actually be destroyed, it will hurt a lot, and it will feel like you're going to be destroyed.
Very nice, very nice. What's your name?
Mataji, this is the girl I said, right? Her mother joins our classes. Your mom name I forgot.
My
What's
mom's
your mom name?
Charu.
Charu.
Charu. Very nice. Very nice child. Thank you.
She started joining our
Mataji.
summer camp, from the summer camp only.
Yeah. So when the soul goes to the hellish planets, it's interesting that they get a special body, okay, special kind of a body with which they suffer. So they undergo suffering, that is correct. Now, the biggest problem that we have is that our soul is meant to evolve in the sense that supposing you're stuck, there is a cockroach in the house, okay? So that cockroach is meant to evolve. The cockroach should go to a higher species, maybe become a bird. And then from the bird, probably get the body of an animal. And then from an animal, get the body of a human being and evolve, keep evolving. But what happens is when you have these three gates of hell, right? That is when you develop too much lust, anger, and greed, you're going to glide down to the lower species of life because you're doing a mistake after mistake. Like we were discussing about anger, right? So we keep accumulating sinful reactions and we keep going down instead of evolving, instead of, becoming perfected human beings and going back to Godhead, we take birth among lower species. So that is actually gliding down or becoming degraded. So this is what happens if we develop these bad qualities that is discussed in this chapter. So is there any hope for such people at all? Because in this chapter, Krishna says there is no hope for them. But then there is actually hope for them. Our acharyas, they tell us that even such people, okay, even if you're the worst of the demon, what happens? Krishna will come, personally kill, and send that person back to Godhead. Okay, he will liberate even the worst of the demons. So Krishna ultimately he is very merciful. Okay, he is the well-wisher of every living entity. Now, there is a formula given in Srimad Bhagavatam that whatever it may be, okay, even if you have very bad qualities, always try to think about Krishna and utilize it in the service of Krishna. So there is a word that says, my dear Yudhishthir, Narada tells Yudhishthir Maharaj, he says, the gopis, they had lust, meaning they had desire. But what sort of desire did they have? They had desire for Krishna. Okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. They couldn't even go for like a few days because when Akruras came, they couldn't even bear just for 2 days because that's what Akruras' purpose was, to invite for a wrestling match. So not even for 2 days they could leave, and they called Akrura very cruel, and that's how they made him like, okay, one day you will do something bad, and that's why he helped. I don't remember something. It started with an S, but this person came murdered Satyajit for the jewel. So
Katadanva. Correct.
yeah, and Akura was like in with the plan, and he held on to the jewel when this person he fled from Dwarka because Krishna was chasing him.
Wonderful. Very nice. Your name is Smriti? Very nice, Smriti. I like that name. Thanks. Thank you, Smriti. So the gopis, they had lot of desire, love, but they had that love for Krishna. Very nicely said. Then Sishupal, he had envy, right? He didn't like Krishna. Envy is not a good quality, but he directed it towards Krishna. What happened? Krishna killed him and he got liberated. Kamsa, he had a lot of fear, but he directed it towards Krishna. So that fear itself took him back to Godhead. Pandavas, they had very nice friendship. That friendship itself took them back to Godhead. Affection can take you back to Godhead. Any emotion, even if it's the worst of the emotions, if it is doubted to Krishna consciousness, it can actually take you back to Godhead. So this is the formula that is given in the Bhagavatam. However, we should not develop bad qualities. We should do favorable devotional service. We should only take up devotion. We should only cultivate qualities that are favorable, meaning we should not develop demoniac qualities. We should develop good qualities. But however, some very nasty demons, even they will be favored ultimately. Because for Krishna, everybody is his child, right? So he will favor everybody. Okay. So that was this verse, the three gates to hell. Okay. One last time, everyone can take turns to recite the verse because we have to also recite the verse. So you can all take turns. Go ahead.
Mataji, can I say first?
Yes, Kana, go ahead.
Trividam narakasjedam dwaram dwaram nashanam atmanah kamakrodastha lobas tasmadevatrayam tyajet.
Excellent. Very good, Smriti. Yes, Isha. Was it Isha who raised the hand? Sorry.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Trividam
Mm,
Vedam.
correct.
Trividam Narakeshtam.
Correct.
Darvam Nashyam Atmanam.
Very good.
Atmana
Ah,
Kama Krodas Tada Lobas Tasmad Etatram Trayam Tejat.
very good. Excellent. Very, very nice. Palavrinda.
त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनं आत्मनः कामक्रोधस्तथा लोभस्तस्मात् एतत्त्रयं त्यजेत्.
Excellent. Very, very good. Good job, kids. You all did so well. Okay, so we'll end here. We'll catch you again next week. Okay. We'll finish 16, 17, 18, and then we'll be done with Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you,
Hare
Thank
Mataji.
you, Mataji, for your
Hare
time.
Krishna,
It was very
Mataji.
nice class. Thank you so much.
Mataji.
Thank you, Isha and Smriti. Very nice realizations you both had. It was so nice to hear.
And Balabrinda had very sweet realization.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Is this Madhva class?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Madhva class.
Yeah. Madhava class. We can now end the call here. And I would like to offer my obeisances to all the kids and Mataji. Vancha kalpatarobhyasya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vritti ki jai, Srila Prabhupada
That
ki
favors in the
jai.
way.
Yay, Jai.
Thank you, kids. See you later. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Mataji.